Welcome in. Today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea from our source material, something it calls the two frequencies. And it's built on the idea that maybe, just maybe, not every thought we have is entirely our own. So let me just start by asking you this. What if every single thought that pops into your head isn't random? What if it's actually a signal you're picking up, a broadcast from one of only two possible stations?
All right, let's get into it. The core idea here is that since the very beginning of humanity, there have been these two fundamental, competing broadcasts influencing all of us. We're going to uncover what these signals are that are constantly shaping our world and, more importantly, our own minds.
So where do these broadcasts come from? Well, it all boils down to this simple duality. One signal comes from, as it says, the dust below. This is all about our earthly, physical nature. And the other? That one comes from the spirit above. This is the foundational split we're going to explore.
Okay, first up is what the source calls the serpent frequency. You can think of this as the wisdom of pure survival, of pride, power, and our own appetites. It's that broadcast that's always whispering to our flesh, kind of pushing us to build our own kingdom, our own throne, right here on Earth.
And this, right here, this is supposedly the original broadcast from that serpent frequency. The promise was, you shall be like Elohim, which basically means you'll be like gods. And according to the source material, humanity has been tuned into this station ever since that moment.
All right, now let's really put these two frequencies side by side. We're going to do a direct head-to-head comparison and look at the nature and the character of the wisdom coming from each one.
This verse from the book of James really gets to the heart of what the serpent's wisdom is all about. It's described in no uncertain terms. It's not from above. It's earthly, it's natural, it even says it's demonic.
So what does that actually look like in our lives? Well, it's things like bitter jealousy, right? Or self-seeking ambition. It's all driven by this nonstop focus on pride, on power, on feeding our appetites, and at the end of the day, exalting ourselves above everything else.
But then, you flip the coin, and you get this. The wisdom from the other frequency, the one from above, is described so differently. It's first clean, then peaceable, gentle, filled with compassion. I mean, it's a completely different broadcast. And you can see here, it's the total opposite. The qualities of the spirit frequency are things like being clean and peaceable, gentle, being ready to obey. It's about compassion, humility, mercy, truth, and love. Just a night and day difference.
This little table sums it all up so well. The serpent frequency, it sources the flesh, its goal is exalting the self, and it makes you a citizen of earth. The spirit frequency, though, its source is the spirit, its goal is humility and love, and it gives you citizenship in heaven. It's like we're citizens of two potential worlds, all at the same time.
So if these two frequencies are broadcasting all the time, where's the radio? Where's this battle actually being fought? Well, the source tells us that the arena for this whole struggle is the mind.
And that brings us to this incredible metaphor, the eye. The text uses this quote to explain that our eye, what we focus on, is the gateway to our mind. What we choose to look at literally determines whether our inner world is filled with light or with darkness.
This leads to a problem the source calls the divided eye. It's this state of being double-minded. Imagine trying to keep one eye on the world and one eye on the divine. You're trying to look at two things at once, and all it does is create confusion and instability.
Now what's interesting is, the source points out that many people in the world try to get spiritual awakening by seeking hidden knowledge, often symbolized by this idea of opening a mystical third eye.
But the source material here argues that's not it at all. The real awakening isn't about getting some secret power. No, it's actually much, much simpler. It's just about purifying our vision. It's about clarifying and unifying what we're focused on.
And this quote from the Psalms, this is the perfect picture of that single eye. It's a mind that is fixed, singularly, on the Creator. There's no division in its focus, and that's presented as the ultimate goal.
So, what's the big takeaway for us? This is where it all comes together, because it's all about how we actively make this choice. Your focus really truly does create your reality.
This isn't a physical battle happening out there somewhere. It's fought entirely inside our own minds. Every single thought you choose to entertain is like accepting a signal. Every decision you make is you literally turning the dial on your reality.
So how do we actually do this? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step process. First, you have to identify the signal. Ask yourself, is this thought coming from the serpent frequency or the spirit frequency? Second, you consciously tune the dial by choosing where to put your focus. And third, you just receive the broadcast and experience the results of that choice.
And what are those results? Well, when your eye becomes single, when you're aligned with that spirit frequency, the source is very clear. Fear and confusion just fade away. All that static and noise from the lower frequency, it loses its power. Your soul gets locked onto what it calls the shepherd's voice, and your entire being becomes full of light.
And so, the source material leaves us with this final powerful call to action. It's not just about seeing, it's about listening. It's about really discerning which broadcast you're actually tuned into at any given moment.
And that leaves us with this one last question, which turns this entire thing back to you. After all of this, after exploring these two competing signals, the only thing that really matters is, which frequency will you choose to amplify today?